I believe the member must be aware that the comments made by myself were comments I made very clear, and the news made very clear. You had multiple media houses at the very same meeting where the head of the Trade Union Congress raised the question. Not only the question, made the statement. The 24 agreements or thereabouts were signed. However, the majority of them were not signed. And my job, when I meet, were not registered. Let me finish the statement. So again, the member should answer the workers. Our only job is, again, to meet workers when they decide, which we did, and the head of the Trade Union Congress made the statement, and we support his statement, and we'll be happy to hear what she has to say.
Thank you, Honourable Member.
The only statement that I heard publicly was a press conference that you spoke at. I did not hear the head of the Trade Union Congress. However, I know you're meeting, but I meet with them. I just met with BPSU Friday. I'm meeting with the Trade Union Congress and Busuwu this Friday. We have regular meetings. So anything that you are getting in your meetings is already in view, already in train. But let's speak to the registration of trade union agreements. I know you may not fully grasp the process because you never signed one during your administration. So let me explain the process to you. Mr. Deputy, I was getting to the facts. So let me ensure that, you have to make sure that when you're trying to get a reaction or, getting some headlines, that you make sure that you are coming with facts, because once the facts are laid out, the blow to your credibility may be, not necessary based on the facts that we have the information, and whatever short-term gains you receive from the PR stunt can be substantiated by the facts. I released a statement outlining the facts of the situation for the Bahamian people last week from Guyana, and I will do so now in person and recount this for the opposition leader today. The majority, you made the statement. So I'm responding to you and for the Bahamian people on the record. The majority of the labor agreements that have been signed are either registered or in the final stages of the registration process. Of the 23 agreements signed up to December of 2023, 12 are completed, signed, registered. An additional 7 have been reviewed and vetted with recommendations made for adjustments to be made in preparation for registration. And just up to yesterday, 2 of those 7 that will be made adjustments on have been completed. In total, that means that 19, because you said majority, 19 of the 23 agreements have either been finalized or registered, or in the final stages of registration, with the process being made for the additional 4. Now, Mr. Deputy, any speculation about major issues we are having with registering these agreements is simply unfounded. This is a normal part of the process. When it comes to registration, any adjustments that need to be made goes back to the registrar, it's completed. Normal part of the process. So any suggestion that registration hasn't been completed or is inaccurate. Typically, the process takes about 2 months, and that's based on typical output. The pace at which we've been signing agreements has been anything but typical. The registrar's office was inundated with an historic amount of agreements, but we're still completing them. This kind of success has never been seen before. Simple as that, and it's definitely not been seen under your administration. As for the assertion, because there was another assertion, that the people had issues with receiving their pay and benefits in fulfillment of the agreements. Well, it should be noted that in some instances, we didn't even wait for the agreements to be signed. We went ahead and made adjustments in good faith, with full confidence that the agreement would be finalized. That's $18 million increase that you see in the budget in wages and salaries. That is what is entailed. It's reflected in the budget. That is the $18 million as a result of promotions and benefits of signed, completed, registered industrial agreements that the employees have received. So I hope that for the benefit of the Bahamian people and the leader of the opposition's speculation has now been satisfied. Mr. Deputy, during our first term in office, we spoke of the possibility of a contributory pension plan becoming a reality for public servants. While we have not provided an update on that initiative, because we are working behind the scenes, I want to advise that we will be seeing movement on the new pension plan in the very near future. For those who aren't familiar, this will be a plan that public servants contribute to, which will provide benefits proportionate to their contributions. It will be separate and apart from the existing pension plan. So those who are due pensions under the current plan will still receive what's owed to them, in addition to whatever they contribute to the contributory pension. It would also be portable, Mr. Deputy, and able to move with them if they decide to leave the public service. And as I said, we're working on getting this plan done. Updates will be provided in the near future as we bring this closer to fruition. Mr. Deputy, I'm proud to say if you take a look at the Ministry of Labor and Public Service budget, we are accomplishing everything we've set out to accomplish while keeping our financial matters in order. In this midterm budget, we have no reallocations or environments. Thus far, everything is going according to plan. Our ultimate goal is to position the Ministry of Labor and Public Service as the leader of all things related to labor and human resources in the country. We're leveraging both labor and HR as tools for economic and social transformation, in line with the Davis's administration's people-first approach to national development. Today, I am proud to represent the people of Golden Gates as a member of a team that truly believes in empowering people. Within the labor market and within the public service, people are feeling the difference in meaningful ways. Through God's grace, and His grace is always sufficient, I believe that we will continue to build on the progress we've made and bring about real change on our building a better Bahamas for all Bahamians. Mr. Deputy, I wholeheartedly support Golden Gates supports the decisions and the priorities outlined in this mid-year budget as an indication of the positive direction that the Davis administration is taking this country in. Thank you, Mr. Deputy.
Thank you, Honorable Member. As many, the Chair recognizes the Honorable Member for East Grand Bahama.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy. Mr. Deputy, it is again a privilege to stand in this place to represent the good and the special people of East Grand Bahama. I am and will be eternally grateful to all of the people in East Grand Bahama for providing me with this opportunity to speak on their behalf. And I make my contribution to this midterm budget debate. Mr. Deputy, the Progressive Liberal Party, or the Davis-Cooper administration, has been a complete failure. They have, Mr. Deputy, they have failed to make most Bahamian people's lives better. They have squandered record-breaking revenues with wasteful, uncontrolled spending. The public no longer believes them. They have failed to keep their promises. They have increased taxes. They have failed to follow the law. They have failed to be transparent and accountable. They've made secret deal after secret deal, and they have betrayed the public trust. Mr. Deputy, the PLP government has failed to provide.
Members, order, members.
The PLP government has failed to provide an economic plan that maintains the needed continued economic growth. The truth is, the government inherited a growing economy. You took office in September of 2021. And in 2021, real GDP growth was approximately 14%.
Yes, sir. Let's open back up. No.
If you want to be exact, it was 13.7, approximately 14%. But Mr. Deputy, we all should be troubled. We all should be troubled by the World Bank's recently published reduction in the country's economic growth path down to 1.8% for this year, 2024. We all should be troubled when the IMF reduces its growth forecast to 2.3% for 2024, and you fail to do anything to react to that. And we all most certainly should be troubled when you even, and I would say secretly, without telling the Bahamian people, that you've adjusted your growth from 5.5%, which you put in your budget book in July, and under the same figure that you now present to us in March, you've adjusted that from 5.5 to 1.1. We all should be troubled. The Caribbean average for economic growth is 4%. This is what is needed to continue to reduce unemployment and to absorb those new persons who are coming into the job market. This government just doesn't seem to get it. It's not enough just to say, I have $1 billion in investments. This means absolutely nothing until you actually get shovels in the ground and jobs for those Bahamians that need it. Little funding for small business development. You have, in fact, reduced the funding for small businesses. You've actually reduced it in the same budget that you tabled this morning. You've reduced the budget for small business development. No focus on ease of doing business. You do not listen to the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce. And to my surprise, and I do not understand it, that the Prime Minister just flat out does not meet with the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce. Your policies are making it more difficult to do business in the Bahamas. You should be solving problems for Bahamian and foreign investors, like the lack of transparency in government procurement. For one project, we can do government procurement. For another project, we ain't doing no government procurement. There is a bureaucratic and inefficient investment approval process. There is difficulties with internet connectivity in our family islands. And the energy cost is 4 times higher than it is in the US. We must, Mr. Deputy, through consultation, provide a transparent investment procedures and legislation. That is the only way that we're going to have the sustained 4% plus economic growth that we require. We cannot just be satisfied that we're going to move from economic growth from 14% to 1%, and we're going to bang our hands on the table as though that's a wonderful thing. Mr. Deputy, what we have to do is we have to fix for the future. We have to make sure that we put in place now those things that the country requires, those reforms that the country requires, so that for our future and for those young Bahamians who are going to be taking over for us, that we don't leave for them to inherit an economy of 1% growth. We must do the things that is required now so that they can inherit an economy that grows. Mr. Deputy, we need to finish the Bahamas Invest. The Bahamas Invest to move projects and approvals from shovel in the ground, or move projects from approval to shovel in the ground,